Gareth Ward, Member for Kiama, Parliamentary Secretary for the Illawarra and South Coast on the 27th of November 2015. If I say no, you think I'm lying, and if I say yes, then you ask me what. So I think I'll just say what I actually believe, and that is that at this point in time, I have got to a point where I am so happy and so content with the work that I have. I feel like I'm up to that challenge and I'm meeting all of those challenges, and I'm not looking for the next hurdle to climb, but when it comes, I'll be there ready to meet it. Well, I got the phone call from Mike Baird on a Thursday night. Cabinet had met, and he rang me to tell me that the government would be recommending a merger of Shoalhaven and Kiama councils. I very much put on the line my political reputation in order to fight for my community first and foremost. I was quite shocked that the government would even consider doing this without any consultation with me as the local MP. It was literally the first that I heard of it.
But let me assure you, when the Premier called me with the proposal which had been carried by Cabinet earlier that afternoon, I let him know directly this is something that I would not and could not support.
When I walked into that meeting, I wasn't surprised at the number of people, but the only place for me was in the front row of that public meeting and listening to every word, listening to every single word.
You can trade in whatever politics you want. I'm going to trade in victory, and that's what we're going to have.
I made it clear to the Premier that this is not something I would support. I said that not only would I not back in the government's position, I'd be taking the government head on. Regardless of what your worldview is, regardless of whether you voted for me or not, the right thing to do is to put our community's interests before my own career interests, and I have always done that, even though some might disagree. But I hope that if I demonstrated anything tonight, that is exactly what I've done again. Having been in local government in this area for almost a decade, I knew intrinsically well that this was a proposal that was going to be roundly rejected. I think my time in local government helped me understand how important local government is, and also, having lived here all my life, I know how connected people are to their communities and the sense of a community they attach to their local councils. Well, today I presented on behalf of residents my concerns and issues in relation to the proposal. I've said all along that I think that the public need to participate in the process, and we've seen that through the volume of submissions that are coming in. A lot of people question why I said, I think in the first page of my report, that of all the possible submissions, this was the worst possible submission, and a lot of people thought that was somehow code for me supporting amalgamations. I never have supported an amalgamation of Kiama Council with any other council, but we needed to undermine this case, and we did that successfully by targeting the flaws, but also presenting the evidence that demonstrates that both Kiama and Shoalhaven councils could stand alone. I was quite shocked to see what was offered today for this process. I think the tent, it was a bit shambolic and certainly made a lot of people very angry. Sitting there without toilet facilities, without water, without cooling on that very hot day, temperature literally rose to boiling point. Brian Petchler, I think, demonstrated a sense of leadership and purpose that we all knew that he had. But for those that may not have made up their mind about Brian, I hope they do now.
The outrageous proposal has never been raised with either council or with either of our communities at any time.
The council laws worked well, although there were two very disappointing individuals that I think put their own interests before the community's interests. Look, I'm not going to go into who they are because I think this community is very intelligent and knows who was working hard to get this result and who didn't. You can't be on a team that delivers the Gerringong upgrade, the Berry bypass, the Albion Park Rail bypass, record investments in our hospitals and schools, and occasionally not have confrontations. This is certainly something that has excised me and this community, rightly so. And there are two things a Member of Parliament can do. They can say, like I know a lot of Members of Parliament have said in the past, I've got to run with the government. Well, I'm not doing that. I've made that very clear. I was one of the MPs that fought hard for the Gonski reforms because I believe in needs-based funding. I was one of the MPs that fought to sign up to the National Disability Insurance Scheme. They were fights that I had with my own side, along with coal seam gas and water catchments. We won. I took them on in relation to aeromedical services being removed from Albion Park. We won. I took them on in relation to extra carriages and extra services. We've won that one. I've taken them on in relation to roads funding. We've won those fights.
We will push hard, we will fight hard, and I hope and I believe that we will get the right result, because this is a community that you never want to take on, because the people who do always come off second best.
This was another battle which I, as a local MP, felt strongly about, and it was one that I was absolutely determined to win.